at the moment, there's only about 2,000 Chinese Guyanese and Chinese nationals living in Guyana. I believe that China and Guyana are each other's genuine friends and important development partner. I know there were challenges, but eventually our relations stand the test. I'm happy that every Guyanese government reiterate to the commitment of One China policy, and we appreciate it very much. We cherish our friendship and cooperation with Guyana very much and regard Guyana as a very important partner in the Caribbean region. As I observe, the Guyanese government is very careful in borrowing money. So when I leave, I just arrived here, so I'm not thinking much about that. So during my stay, during my working term here, I hope to witness the commencement and the accomplishment of many projects here.
Thank you, Ambassador. Guyana and China will be celebrating 50 years of friendship this year. And we're going to talk a lot about the Guyana and China relationship throughout this interview. But also, the Chinese will also be observing and celebrating their new year on February 1st. Could you talk to us about the significance of that occasion and how will Chinese across Guyana be celebrating?
Oh yes, the Chinese New Year is also known as Spring Festival. It's the most important traditional festival for all Chinese, including overseas Chinese. It's a time for family reunion. Usually people will try hard to go back home to spend the holiday with family members. So that's why usually there will be a travel rush during this time. And this coming New Year is the year of Tiger. Tiger is the king of all beasts in China and symbolize courage and strength. So I would take this opportunity to wish all fellow Chinese in China and also in Guyana and also Guyanese friends a very auspicious and energetic year of Tiger.
Are you seeing sort of like a rush of Chinese living in Guyana coming to the embassy looking for consul services and support to go back home at this time?
Not this time, because the pandemic is already there for 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, people are getting used to this reality. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Just for some stats on the Chinese population in Guyana, do you know the numbers?
It's estimated that the number is not that big,
right.
Although Chinese people in Guyana, there is a long history. The first group of Chinese arrived in Guyana nearly 170 years ago. So next year in January we will celebrate the 170th anniversary. But at the moment there's only about 2,000 Chinese Guyanese and Chinese nationals living in Guyana. Yeah.
As you said, a small number.
Yeah.
But what could we expect from that small number of people on February 1st? Is there something that the wider Guyanese population can look forward to as you celebrate and observe your New Year?
Yeah, for the New Year, there are some traditional customs to celebrate the New Year. For example, people will clean their houses to get rid of the bad fortune of the old year and decorate the house in red because Chinese people believe red color will bring good fortune, health, wealth, prosperity. And people will paste some Spring Festival couplets in the front doors It's a pair of poetry with best wishes, good wishes for the new year. And on the eve of Chinese New Year, people will sit together, the big family, to have a fancy dinner, to have a lot of dishes. The dumpling will be a must. Yeah. The local Chinese people, they used to have various of celebration activities, but unfortunately, because of the pandemic, there will be no big gathering this year. But they can also enjoy we call it Spring Festival Gala. It's a spatial, big scale entertainment show. Here you can also enjoy it. It will be broadcast live through the NCN channel 27, and also will be in the Facebook of the Chinese Embassy in Guyana.
Madam Ambassador, you acknowledged that Chinese have been in Guyana for well over 100 years. But the two countries established diplomatic, bilateral relations just about 50 years ago, and we will be celebrating that 50-year anniversary this year. From China's end, what does 50 years of friendship with Guyana mean?
In 1972, Guyana took the lead. Guyana is the first country in English-speaking Caribbean to establish bilateral relations with China. Over the past 50 years, our political trust have been strengthened, and our cooperation in many fields are very fruitful. There's many important high-level exchange, high-level visits from both sides, and we have established important mechanism. For example, the Joint Commission on Economic and Trade Cooperation. We have witnessed a large increase of our bilateral trade. China has contributed to the improvement of infrastructure here. For example, the Arthur Chuang Conference Center, some hotels, including the new Pegasus Hotel, the movie town, which have been a landmark of the Georgetown. And we have also cooperation in energy, ICT, sports, etc. And we're proud of the Chinese medical team. We call it Chinese Medical Brigade, the Chinese government scholarships, the Confucius Institute in University of Guyana. And we have also close cooperation in international affairs. We supported each other. We uphold the principle of multilateralism, and we safeguard the common interest of developing countries together. So to summarize, I believe that China and Guyana are each other's genuine friends and important development partner.
Right. Are there any specific activities planned in observance of this anniversary?
Yes, because 50th anniversary is a very important milestone. Already, together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the embassy have done a plan to celebrate. There will be many activities. For example, reception, Chinese film festival, some online performance, online exhibition, and we are planning to publish an anthology of stories of our friendship.
You spoke earlier about the belief in multilateralism. I wanted to ask you if you were satisfied with how Guyana has adhered to the One China policy.
Yeah, it's a One China principle is the underlying principle guiding China's relations with any other countries. It's important because it's related to China's sovereignty and in territorial integrity. In 1971, before establishment of diplomatic ties, Guyana voted in favor of the United Nations Resolution number 2758, supported the restoration of a lawful seat of People's Republic of China in the United Nations. Although that time we have no formal relations, but Guyana fully recognized that there's only one China in the world. The government of People's Republic of China is the sole legal government representing whole of China, and Taiwan is an inalienable part of China. Over the past 50 years, yes, I know there were challenges, but eventually our relations stands the test. I'm happy that every Guyanese government reiterate to the commitment of One China policy, and we appreciate it very much.
Excellent. You also talked about investment earlier, but I know Guyana and China has had what I would say is a rich cultural exchange. Could you talk about how that will continue to benefit the people of both countries going forward?
Cultural exchange, yeah, very important. And I observed that Guyana is a country full of diversity, not only in natural resources but also in different cultures. Cultural exchanges is very important for strengthening people's friendship. I think the Confucius Institute here is a very good window for local people know more about China, Chinese culture. Currently, there's more than 300 Guyanese learning Chinese language there. And after the pandemic, I'll try to invite more culture groups, art groups, or acrobatic groups to visit here. I know local people like it very much. Yeah.
Could you say what's next in the relationship between Guyana and China? What's next?
We cherish our friendship and cooperation with Guyana very much and regard Guyana as a very important partner in the Caribbean region. There's great potential for us for our future cooperation. The economy is entering into a fast track. Chinese companies are showing growing interest in investing in Guyana. And we can develop our cooperation not only through bilateral channel, but also in regional and international framework. For regional cooperation, now we have this China CELAC Forum, and also there's a new center called China Caribbean Development Center. It's a new mechanism just set up recently. Yeah, and also internationally, our President Xi Jinping has proposed the Global Development Initiative last year at the UN General Assembly. It aims to accelerate the implementation of UN 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, so that will also provide more opportunity for our future cooperation.
Right. Could you say how engagements between Guyana and China are progressing on the Belt and Road Initiative?
Belt and Road Initiative was proposed by President Xi Jinping in 2013, and since then, now there's already about 150 countries and more than 30 international organizations have signed Belt and Road Cooperation Agreement with China, and Guyana joined in 2018. There's 5 prioritized fields under the framework. Yes, there is progress in all these 5 priority areas between our cooperation. For policy coordination, the 2 presidents, President Xi Jinping and President Ali, had a phone conversation last year. They have reached many consensus and joined a new blueprint for our cooperation. And we are discussing with the Guyanese government to strengthen our cooperation under Belt and Road. For this facility connectivity, some important projects, for example, the infrastructure projects, the airport, the roads, of course the bridge is going on. And for trade facilitation, we have mentioned the bilateral trade is increasing. And for financial integration, the negotiation for financing for some projects are also going on. And for people-to-people's bond, we have stand side by side in front of this COVID pandemic, and China has contributed vaccination, the vaccines and medical supplies. That's a good example.
You talked about projects, and you did mention the bridge, but Chinese are also working on the Mila Falls hydropower project. Are there other similar projects where Chinese investors are looking to come to Guyana and invest and work with the Guyana government to see its realization?
After I arrived here, I noted that some Chinese companies have been granted the first right of negotiation on big project like the bridge, the hydropower, and I know negotiations are going on. Yes, as I mentioned just now, Chinese companies are interested in the market here, and but also they are concerned about whether there is internationally competitive incentives for foreign investors, whether there is a stable and a predictable environment and necessary infrastructure, whether the local society is friendly to foreign investors. Yes, I hope these projects, this negotiation for these projects will go smoothly.
Right. You talked about the support that China has been giving Guyana, and some of that support comes in the form of loans, country-to-country loans. But recently, an EU representative had flagged the downside of Guyana really receiving loans and the possibility of Guyana not being able to repay China, and what that could mean for future relations between the two countries. Ambassador, do you want to weigh in on those discussions?
It's quite common that many developing countries are facing the bottleneck of financial resources. And in the past 20 years, China helps by Chinese banks providing loans. There are some points I would like to share with you. First, Chinese banks are providing loans at the request of the borrowing country. And second, the agreements are through friendly consultation and negotiation. And third, the Chinese funds are used in building infrastructure and some production projects which will help to build the self-supportive capacity of the borrowing country. And fourth, China attaches great importance to debt sustainability, and it's required that every project will with adequate feasibility study. And fifth, last point is that after the outbreak of the pandemic, we noticed that many countries are in economic difficulties. There is this G20 initiative called DSSI, Debt Service Suspension Initiative, and China responded positively. China ranks the #1 among the G20 members in terms of debt deferral amount. I know that, as I observe, the Guyanese government is very careful in borrowing money.
Right.
So, yeah.
So Ambassador, you are assuring that there's nothing to worry about when it comes to borrowing from China?
So both sides are very careful. So all these loans will be done after adequate feasibility study. Yeah.
You talked about people-centered cooperation, and a lot of that comes in the form of training, scholarship, and that type of exchanges. Could we talk a little about that? How is China going to be supporting Guyana in that regard going forward?
Yes, we are providing scholarships and training is one of the important area of our cooperation. China has started provide scholarship to Guyanese students since 1980s. In recent 5 years, there's more than 60 Guyanese students awarded Chinese scholarships. They are now studying in China in many famous universities, and their major covers economics, engineering, medicine, etc. And China is providing bilateral and multilateral training courses to Guyanese people. In 2021 alone, last year alone, more than 160 Guyanese personnel have enjoyed the training course.
And this is Guyanese leaving Guyana to go to China for these trainings and these scholarships?
During
Or is
the
it happening right here?
because last year, because of pandemic, it's online. It's done online. Yeah. So in future, there will be some more insight training. Yeah. Yeah.
Ambassador, we talked about Guyanese being here for Chinese being in Guyana, sorry, for over 100 years.
Yes.
We talked about 50 years of bilateral relations. And we talk about all that China and Guyana is doing together as two countries. But are you satisfied, since you've been here, with the recognition that Chinese are receiving in Guyana?
As I observed, the mainstream attitude of local people toward Chinese and Chinese companies are positive. Yeah. Most of the people support the strengthening of cooperation with China. But occasionally, I also observed there will be some negative news with distorted facts, which will lead to misunderstanding. So as the Chinese ambassador to Guyana, I will work as a bridge. I'll try my best to help both sides to get better understanding of each other. The Chinese government is requiring overseas Chinese and Chinese companies to abide by local laws, international forms, and fulfill the contractual and social responsibility. And we also hope the Guyanese friends can also look at Chinese people, Chinese companies in an objective and fair way. Yeah. So we welcome more Guyanese friends, including from the media, to visit China after the pandemic to witness and experience the real China with your own eyes. You can also follow the website and Facebook of the embassy and also some Chinese media to get more information, more facts about China.
Ambassador, as I wrap up the interview, I just wanted to go back to when we talked about Chinese investments and how it has increased over the last year. Are there specific areas where these investments are being made?
You mean already being made?
Yes.
Yes, there's the investment in energy, in agriculture, mining, yes, and some other areas. I think it echoes the priority of the government's development strategy. Yeah. And we are encouraging business sector from both sides to have more engagement, to seize the opportunities of business opportunities.
Ambassador, my final question. Could we talk a little bit about the focus of your work here as the ambassador? And generally, what you hope to leave as your legacy when your tour of duty wraps up and you leave here in another few years?
Yeah, there's a lot of things to do for me. So this year, we will celebrate the 50th anniversary. We'll not only celebrate, we are also trying to use this good opportunity to strengthen our cooperation. I'm closely working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and many other authorities. We would like to strengthen our mechanism to have some meetings within this framework, and we will organize some events for the business people. Will help to organize for them to get know better of each other, and to find this opportunity. And also very important to have more people-to-people engagement, the cultural events. So when I leave, I just arrived here, so I'm not thinking much about that. So during my stay, during my working term here, I hope so. I hope to witness the commencement and the accomplishment of many projects here. Yeah.